So Ravens flock Ravens football, it is almost back. Tomorrow, or if you're watching this on Thursday, today, the Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens, they will be playing a preseason game. This will, of course, be our first preseason game of the 2025 NFL season, and there's a lot to look forward to. There's certain players and position battles that I'm excited to see play out in this preseason, and I want to talk about that. But before I touch on that, I actually wanted to talk about the Nate Wiggins brawl that happened yesterday during the joint practice. As we all know, we had a joint practice against the Indianapolis Colts, and at some point during a special teams play, for whatever reason, there's still not a whole lot of details about what exactly happened, but either way, apparently Nate Wiggins came off the bench and threw some punches at somebody. I'm assuming it was the Colts running back, not Jonathan Taylor. It was somebody else. That was the other person that was named in the situation. That person apparently didn't really suffer any real consequences other than going back to the bench. But in the case of Nate Wiggins, he was kicked out of the practice. I don't think this is truly a big deal, to be honest with you. When you look around the NFL, this pretty much happens every single season. Whenever teams get their first joint practice during preseason, you always hear stories about teams having, moments where things kind of get intense and there's either a scuffle or sometimes a full-blown fight, like what allegedly happened with Nate Wiggins and the other dude from the Colts. It's usually not a big deal. These guys, they've been itching to put hands on somebody for the past several months. They want to knock somebody out. They want to hit somebody. They want to level somebody. And, they want to get an opportunity to really practice going 100% and really knocking the air out of somebody. And you really can't do that, especially on defense. You can't really do that in training camp. That's really not the goal, of course. So it's to be expected that regardless of the team, there's going to be some friction and moments where things get a little intense. I don't think this truly matters. I'm just happy to see that Nate Wiggins has that dog in him. As long as he's able to control this in the season and use this at an appropriate time, I think it'll be no big deal. I'm still expecting Nate to have a major season. I'm expecting Nate, despite the fact that our cornerback room is looking loaded right now, I'm still expecting Nate to possibly be the best corner on the roster. I may be speaking too soon because Jair, when he's healthy, on paper, he is the most elite cornerback we have right now, at least on paper when he's healthy. But obviously, Marlon is no slouch. Obviously, he is also an all-pro caliber player who's back to playing like his old self. Then also we have Chidobe Awuzie, who's a very solid starter, respectable starter, who's, for him to be our fourth cornerback or whatever, that's a great place to be. But still, I'm expecting Nate, even if Nate is not the best corner on this roster, I'm expecting him to be right up there with Jair and Marlon. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as the preseason game against the Colts, the winner of the game doesn't matter, of course. It's the preseason. I'm assuming the Ravens are still going to play to win because prior to last year, we had the longest winning streak in the history of the preseason. I know John Harbaugh takes a lot of pride in that, so I imagine he wants to get back to our winning ways in the preseason, even though it doesn't truly matter. The two battles that I'm looking forward to most in this preseason is going to be the battle at left guard and the battle at linebacker. Of course, when I'm talking about left guard, we talking about Andrew Voorhees and Ben Cleveland. And then at linebacker, we talking about Teddy Buchanan and Trenton Simpson. In the case of the guard position, I don't necessarily think either one of these guys is ever truly going to be a stud. But at the same time, I do think Ben Cleveland has the potential to be a solid starter. I think many of us, from the time we saw him for that brief period of time play against the Miami Dolphins at the end of 2023, many of us have had not high hopes, but high enough hopes that he can come out and be a more reliable option than what we had last year. Because last year, it was Voorhees, then if I'm not mistaken, it was also Pat McCary. there wasn't a real answer there. And for whatever reason, John Harbaugh hates everything about Ben Cleveland and has had him in the doghouse for 3 years. Whereas Andrew Voorhees came to the team injured, and for whatever reason, they tried to immediately thrust him into the front of the line. And I didn't think that was fair. I would like to see an honest battle happen. If that's, but you never know. Maybe Voorhees surprises us, but we'll see. I don't think either one of them are the long-term answer, but we just need somebody who could just be competent or just good enough right now, right? The other battle I'm not worried about, but interested to see is the linebacker battle. Like I said a few weeks ago, even though Teddy Buchanan is a rookie, I'm expecting Teddy to win this. I know that may feel like a reach because Trenton Simpson is just so much more gifted athletically. Roquan Smith even went as far as saying that Trenton is built like a Greek god, like just giving him like all those compliments. We all know that he has the tangibles that you want. Obviously, he's like a extremely fast dude. I think he ran like a 4.4 when he first got drafted, and he also is extremely strong. Like he has the measurables that you would want, but when he's on the field, it doesn't seem like he's putting it all together. And many people who are big Roquan Smith fans, they did make the argument that maybe part of the reason Roquan's year got off to a slow start last year, maybe partially because he was too concerned with trying to get Trenton to do the right thing and trying to overcompensate. Hopefully that's not something he would have to worry about this year, but if that is the case, I want to see Teddy go out there and get a reasonable chance to win. If Trenton wins, it's more ideal to have Trenton win, of course, because this is his third season now, so in theory, he should be entering his prime. He should be entering a point where he does know more than enough about the defense that he's playing in under Zach Orr, as well as the teammates that he has, because there's a lot of continuity with the defensive roster, a lot of the same people. He should at this point know people's tendencies. And then also just he has more experience on his belt now. Like you've been in the game or watching from the sidelines for 2 years now. You would hope that he's ready to take that next step forward, and at the very least be in that role that Patrick Queen was in before PQ left. And if he is, I'll be more than excited. But if he looks shaky in the preseason, I'm gonna be one of the main people screaming to just give Teddy a chance. Let Teddy go out there and see what he's made of. But let me know, is there any position battle you're excited about for this preseason game? And also, are you concerned with Nate Wiggins, or are you excited that he has that dog in him and he's willing to get aggressive? Let